This conference will now be recorded.
And it's on.
Hello, everybody.
Well,
Go ahead, Regina. Tell us about you. How's the
I
business?
am, uh, well, I have good news. It's going pretty good, slowly, but it's going okay. I went to a women's conference over the weekend, this past weekend, and it was actually a breast cancer conference with a friend that I've been phone friends with for 2 years. And I finally met her for the first time this weekend. We both were from my previous employer. We met then. Not going to mention any names. Um, and while I was there, I actually was able to witness and speak with three people who had sarcoidosis. So I also had FSR information up there. I also gave them the NCAN information for the support groups. Gave them my support group information for Facebook, and one person has already signed up for it. Um, and they bought earrings, all of them. So, um, one person I'm pretty sure is going to be buying my book. Um, but the one lady had lots and lots of questions. And one of the questions she was asking, she said, "Well, I've been in remission for years." But she was saying she had, and it was an African American conference, by the way. She was asking about gut information, gut issues, joint issues. And when she was asking me all these questions, I was thinking about my own self and what I had been going through in the last 4 years when I thought I was, in remission when I wasn't. And the doctors couldn't do anything for me until I got on Remicade. And some of those issues that I had kind of resolved themselves once I got on Remicade. So I spoke with her at length and suggested she go see a doctor. And she said she's going to stay in contact with me, and let me know what is going to be happening with her, because she's having a lot of like heartburn, GERD related issues, a lot of internal issues when it comes to her digestive um, tract and things like that. And I also let her know, no two people are alike. Everybody, sarcoidosis is totally different. And then another woman I spoke with stated that her husband is 73 and he was just diagnosed with sarcoid. Yes. So yeah, I've had a pretty interesting weekend, to
Hmm,
say the least. So
sounds like
yeah.
it.
hmm So yeah, I made my referrals, and hopefully some of the individuals that I spoke to over the weekend will start coming to our support group.
Good. That'll be
nice.
great.
Yep.
So, Kevin, none of us have
Abby,
introduced ourselves, so you guys can just go ahead and start.
where have you
Uh,
been, young lady?
Oh my God. I haven't been around.
Yeah, because nobody killed her yet.
I've been right exactly what are they doing?
Sorry, Abby.
No, me and Kathleen were joking earlier about like just dark humor when you like have like something like sarcoidosis and just dark humor like, wow, I'm not dead yet. What are you doing?
Another day above dirt.
I'm like my name is like right on God's hit list, but like I'm just surviving just out of spite. Because I'm a contrarian.
I know I sent you a message. I was just curious if you had got it.
I got the text of the screenshot of this. This is why I remember to actually show up. My phone bill, because like we were having like really bad money problems, and so my phone bill only gets like it's paid now, but like I miss so many texts when in that period where your phone bill is not paid. So I just like also my brain is like
Mush.
liquid mulch, yeah. So it's like, well, if my phone bill's not paid and I don't even realize it, and the doctor's like, I tried calling you, and I was like, oh yeah, yeah, I'm poor. Sorry.
Yeah.
So, but it's paid now, so I'll text you back. But I did get that one, which is why I'm here, because I always like forget.
Good. Are you feeling okay? Other than having a mush brain like everybody else?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm all right.
Good.
Been worse for sure.
Good.
How are you doing, Kevin?
I'd like to say better than I deserve. Um, I believe I'm still in remission. I've got some blood work coming up. I have to do a PET scan next month, but I've been going boating a lot and it's been agreeing with me. So I'm getting a lot of sun and it's not having a negative impact. Although I do have a little bit of fatigue after 5 days in Key West. So I've been taking it easy this week.
Okay. And I see Jim's here. Hi, Jim.
Hi, Jim.
Maybe he can't hear us yet.
Oh, a PET scan. I have to get a brain scan in a couple weeks because my hand stopped working. But anyway, I think that's just like they're just checking to make sure it's not like spreading or whatever. But
Hmm.
do you have to do anything for that like beforehand?
Are you getting a pet, a cat, or an MRI?
I don't know. I just a brain scan. I don't even remember what I ate for breakfast, Kathleen.
Hmm.
Like I don't
They're gonna
know,
find
but
anything in there?
you don't have to like fast or anything. They're gonna find just elevator music notes, like
Yeah,
sheet music for elevator music. Yeah.
that's better than what I got in there. It's all cotton. But if it's a cat,
I know I had to get a brain MRI
mhm.
about 3 years ago. This was after I had my ICD place. I needed a whole cardiac team there with me to put it into standby and pace it and set everything back. Of course, they didn't set it back to what it was. They set it back to default. So I had to go through another appointment to get my settings loaded into it, but that was all good.
Okay. Did you have to
So
do any?
did you have to prepare? Yeah.
No, it's not like a PET scan where you have a special diet for 3 days and you can't eat sugar and carbs. It's all fat and
I've never
blood.
had a PET scan.
Oh, you're so lucky.
I imagine because I have to get a lung scan, I have to get lung scans every 3 months, and they just tacked on the brain scan at the same appointment. So I'm assuming there it's like going to be the same machine, at least. Like, but they didn't
Possibly,
seem
yeah.
to
They
say
might
like
just
I
keep
need to
going
do
north.
it.
Yeah. You could always call them and ask them just in case.
That's true. If they gave me special instructions, it wouldn't surprise me if I had already forgotten.
I know. I understand that too. So somebody named Sandy is here. Sandy,
Mm-hmm.
could you say hello?
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Very, very low.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, if we all get close to the screen.
My name is Sandy.
Hello.
Hi.
Do you have sarcoidosis?
I do, unfortunately. I've been blessed with it, yes.
I'm sorry to hear that.
It's a blessing. It has its perks,
It does.
but
Are you?
it has that challenge of trying to find a second new normal.
Yes. How long have you had it?
Not really sure, but after cancer, after radiation, then I believe I wasn't sure, but my eyesight went blind for a few months, and a few months of probably about, I'm going to say maybe a year or so. In addition to, I'm not sure what I'm doing, but I'm causing my own flare ups. So that's 1,000 milligrams IV, 5 days minimum, um, Prazidone for about a year and a half. Now I've been cresting to get off of Prazidone, jumping around. But now my problem is, I don't know. I just found out that they want me to do B12s every day.
Mhm.
I'm already an energized bunny athlete, so I kind of resist it, but the fatigue, so I'm not really sure that new normal. So the things I used to can do can't do, so that emotional trauma is there as well. And my
And what I missed it. Um,
aquatic swimming
okay.
and athletes run marathons and was told that I can no longer my running days are over.
Mm.
The chlorine bleach in the pool makes my breathing a little challenging to swim, although I force it and cause myself a flare up. So the things that I'm used to doing in normal life to heal, recuperate after injuries or not feeling well, eating and dieting and juicing, all the normal healthy things.
Mhm.
I'm trying to do the physical healthy things, but I'm running into walls because my new normal sarcoidosis, my new shoe size, has caused me to adjust a whole lot of things. And so there's pluses and minuses. The fatigue is one thing, and I can balance that, by resting and keep moving and keep doing things to figure, maybe I'm not really sure about sarcoidosis, but my mindset says if I continue to keep a routine of some type of activity of movement from an athletic standpoint, that I could counteract the fatigue. And when I do too much, my body shuts me down for sure. So I'm kind of the emotional side, the mental side of getting through the blocks of what I can't do versus newness. Not age, it's just that I have a condition that when I do normal stuff, I'd cause myself a flare up.
Yes. You need to find a new norm.
Yeah, so I left my corporate America job to work for myself, get government contracts, and do some things just in case I can't because my corporate America job, unfortunately, I'm not supposed to be around chemical dust and fumes. That has been my corporate America automotive industry, 20, 30 years. So now my new normal is real estate. And so that even causes challenges because I do have to be on site and want to oversee hands on contractors. So I push through. It's just that not being able to walk up the steps, the not being able to, number two, comfortably, to reach behind. So I have challenges of physical challenges that I physically can't rehab myself, and because I can't breathe long enough. And so, because I'm thinking, I don't know, do climate, weather conditions exacerbate or improve? Because I have the ability to go from property from Michigan cooler weather to Georgia weather. And so, do I go into a better climate? And so, I decided to make those quality of life choices in addition to helping my senior mom. So, my new normal has been shifted, but it also is a blessing, I guess I can say too. Instead of being down about it, I also look at it gave me a chance to shift my whole life, meaning job, how finances, and better quality of life giving to family and others, and not really piss and moan about my sarcoidosis. Because when people say I'm sorry about cancer, no, because it gave me a chance to have disability. I didn't know about disability. I didn't know about the walking. I didn't know about a lot of things that was beneficial to me because I've always thought someone needed it. So I have a lot of emotional walls and barriers about what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, the corporate America mindset versus the disability mindset, and being, I guess the one thing I'm having now is anger management issues. And if you give me a second, I'll explain why. When you're younger and you're functional, you don't think about it. We see it on TV and we take for granted that the disability and the handicap stickers and the people who have to go through Medicaid and all that whatnot, right? Unless we have to be the one who is receiving of that. So I hear my mom complaining, elders complain about it. Just took it for granted. Now, I'm not elder, but I'm in that arena, in the
Mhm.
treatment for being handicapped and disabled emotionally. I want to really go into jail and get a bond for killing somebody for the way they're treating disabled. And so I have a lot of emotional barriers how to adjust to this new normal of being, one, have a disability that I can't control, two, have a lifestyle change that I have to change, rely on God and not listen to people, and being angry because I had no choice. Make sense?
It does.
So with this group, and I've been trying to get with this group for a year. Unfortunately and blessful, I've missed it every day, because every Wednesday, because it's the exact same time as my Bible study. Today, Bible study wasn't happening, and I've been praying, can I at least get this sarcoidosis? Somebody can tell me if I'm crazy, or give me some kind of direction, give me some help, or just listen. Because I know if somebody's been where I'm going, I just don't want to go in that anger side, so I lean on God. And so that's why I've been missing, because I've been trying to get that spiritual strength of direction and uplift instead of having a pity party. So today, God blessed me with the opening to come and join your session today. Thank you.
Well, we are so glad that
I
could
need
you
help.
tell us, where you have
Well, initially started in my lungs, and
Mhm.
we thought it was just because of the radiation during COVID. So I never could get checked out because of all the situations in COVID. So it was my mom for the last 4 years has been asking me, did I smoke? And thought I was doing a little tree stuff. And I said, no, mom, I'm an athlete. But I had this cough, and my mom kept complaining about this cough, and cancer runs in our family. So I never knew about it until I was driving to the farmer's market in the rain in the fast lane, and my left eye went totally black. And that's what was crazy, because I was on my way from the farmer's market to the doctors to get released to go back to work from cancer. And then that put me out some more, and then COVID put out longer. And so I was like a guinea pig. I mean, that treatment of thinking didn't know why I got it, how I got it, the diagnosis, thought I had tuberculosis and how you get treated in the hospital. I went through all of that, and no one could find out for about a year. And then it was the precedone that I couldn't take, the gaining of the weight, because psychologically, as an athlete, gaining weight is not in our protocol. So mentally, it was troubling me as an athlete too. So I couldn't do those things. So I started to push with my cancer doctors to ask my sarcoidosis people for certain questions. And they all said get off of precedone. I was on it too long, and it was impacting other areas. And so it went from there to, it was initially there, and then the eye went out, so that went blind. So they found out I had severe nerve damage, and that's where the precedone came in to knock that nerve down so I could see. And then probably just maybe 4 months ago, they wouldn't let me get glasses. Now I get glasses, and it's amazing how I'm not blurred anymore. And so then they told me it went to a little bit of the spine, and I'm not sure about the bones, because it's the bone pain is excruciating, and I don't know what to do with that except they tell me vitamin D, and then I heard a young lady talk about the headaches in initial call. I just left the hospital regarding headaches, and the emergency doctor couldn't reach my primary on medicine. But he said at home, I said I'm not a medicine taker. I don't. I want what's natural. And he recommended black coffee. And so I've been doing black coffee for the last 48 hours, and my headache, surprisingly, I'm not a coffee drinker, I'm a tea drinker, but surprisingly, the coffee has helped. So I'm not sure if that helps anybody, but the emergency doctor just told me that about 3 this morning for my sarcoidosis headache.
Well, I would like to welcome you to the group. I'm echoing. I'm going to step out a second and come back in.
Okay, we'll see you in a bit. Hi, Sandy. This is Kevin.
Hi, Kevin.
I was having a very hard time hearing what you were saying. I got little bits and pieces of it, but my question was, do you get an email from ANCAN every month when the SARC meeting is scheduled?
I do.
Okay, so you're already on the list. Otherwise, we
I'm
could
on the list.
get your
It
email and
says
we
on
could put
Bible
you on.
study day.
Right. I got that part. The Bible study you've been trying to get here. So, all right. Well,
Yeah. So
maybe
Sandy,
God will bless us with your presence next month as well.
I just want to let you know that we're here just to chat. Um, I've had it over 20 years. Regina has as well. And I'm
Mm.
still echoing.
It's not you.
It
It's
could be me.
I
It could
think
be me.
Sandy
I'm on a
doesn't have
hot spot.
headphones.
It could be me. I have to lay in a certain position because I had a back procedure. So it could be me. I'm on a hot spot on speakerphone.
Gotcha.
Apologize, team.
No, no worries.
20 years.
I'm sorry, Kevin, I stepped on you.
Am I echoing when I'm talking? Yeah.
Everybody is.
So, Sandy, why don't you put it on mute, and that should stop the echo. Yeah, there we go. And you can just come off mute if you have something you need to add or contribute to the conversation. We normally go around and introduce ourselves and explain our journey with sarcoidosis. So, my name is Kevin. I was diagnosed in 2010. They actually found it initially in my right ring finger. They did a biopsy and told me I needed to see a pulmonologist. I had a confirmation with a biopsy after that and had a honeymoon for 10 years. No medication, nothing to do, just a little decreased lung function and a little fatigue now and again. And in 2020, I had a motor vehicle accident. I had a flare up and it got in my heart. 3 days after the accident, I was in the emergency department and was in AFib and went through a bunch of tests and echocardiograms and stress tests. And it wasn't until they did a PET scan that they confirmed that it was cardiac sarcoidosis. So my prognosis was pretty poor at the time. I had an ICD implanted, um, and then went through a lot of medication, principally prednisone and Cellcept for the sarcoidosis, and about a dozen other medications to deal with all the side effects. A lot of pain, a lot of fatigue throughout that time period, and made a lot of changes to my lifestyle. Started intermittent fasting, uh, working through the fatigue, walking initially, and then some weight bearing exercises that were helpful in relieving the symptoms. And today I'm off all my medications. I'm self managing. I have a PET scan once every 2 years and a echocardiogram every. We kind of alternate just to keep in touch. ICD is monitoring my heart 24/7. So I'm in a better place now, but I have this thing hanging over me like it can come back at any time, and that's always in my space. So I'm just trying to live one day at a time. Who wants to go next? Abby, you want to go? Tell us your part of your story.
Yeah, I during the wildfires of 2023, I stopped being able to breathe and I got checked at a hospital because I was vomiting blood and they did a scan and found everything in my lungs. I had to get a lung resection, part of my lung removed because it was fibrosis. They biopsied it with sarcoidosis. Now I'm here. Like in my 29 years, I have 1.5 lungs now. But I was gonna say something. Sandy mentioned, I don't know if you guys caught it. She was very quiet. Um, the anger thing of being an athlete sounds familiar because I went through that. I was a soccer player, and I asked Regina actually, and I said, "When do I stop being so mad? I feel like I'm going crazy." And Regina says, "You really don't ever stop being mad. You know, some days are better than others." But that helped so much to understand, like, aggressively angry, not healthy, but being angry about it is fair because it's a shitty situation to be in. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So that helped me a lot. So I think Regina, if she wants to go next, because she helped me so much.
And you're up, Regina. How you doing today?
Terrible, but I'm here. I'm Regina. I was diagnosed in 1994. Prior to that, I was sick several years, and I was just brushed away. Said I had allergies, and one day I just felt like I was dying. Called my parents, went to the ER. Found out the next day I had a big softball-sized mass on my chest, along with pneumonia. Well, within those 2 weeks, I was diagnosed two different times. One with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, which was a lie. But then the other one was a medical mystery. Back then, that's what it was called. Today is called sarcoidosis, and back then it was also called an autoimmune condition. But today it is considered an inflammatory condition. But needless to say, I was immediately put on steroids, and I did well for a few years. And then I was in remission for years until 2018 hit. And I'm going to tell you, all hell broke loose. 2018, I believe, um, COVID was around, and I had a virus, and that virus attacked me, and it also attacked my pops. My pops passed away in 2018, and my body fought really hard to stay alive. And from 2018 to 2019, I was in and out of the hospital anywhere from 24 hours to uh, 30 days. My body was, something was just wreaking havoc over my body. None of the meds, I had been on every treatment protocol that they could think of in between that time, and nothing was working. So I wind up having my doctor here, and my Cleveland Clinic doctors decided I needed to be on Remicade. I didn't, my Cleveland Clinic doctors could not give me Remicade, but I have a doctor here in my hometown who said, I will be your right hand man. And he has been that for me. So I get my Remicade every 4 weeks. It is called my joy juice. If I don't get that, I don't know what will happen. But because of being on that Remicade, I am off of all of those other types of medications except for my gabapentin because I have neurosarc as well. But because of the Remicade, it fixed a whole list of all the other issues that I have. I'm considered very chronic. I have sarcoidosis in my lungs. I have it in my joints. I have it in my gut system. I have it in my lymphatic system. And I have it in my neural system. Thank God at this moment I do not have it in my heart, but they are keeping an eye out on my heart. My first organ that was removed was my gallbladder. And when they removed it, the doctor said, Did you ever have gallstones? And I'm like, No, never a day in my life had I had gallstones. But that gallbladder was obliterated. So that just lets you know that something had been going on all these years. And uh, so I think, be God honest truth, I was born with it. Um, and I'm 63. So all my life, I've been sick, according to my mother, because I had to go back and ask her what was going on with me as I was growing up. And I've been the sickly child all my life. I'm still sick, but you know what? I'm thriving. I lost my job just this past year, forced to retire because of being sick. But you know what? I'm still thriving. I have issues though, but I'm making it. It's a struggle, but I'm making it. I started my business. Um, I wrote a book.
I was just I unmuted to be like, you should plug your book because reading that is honestly, it's like almost spiritual coming from somebody. It's like when you feel alone, reading it on paper in a personal voice, not a textbook, like a personal voice, really helps.
Yeah, I wrote a book because of my illness, and this stems from day one. I started writing poetry way before I even got sick. But when I think about it, um, some of that, maybe a couple of those poems was pulled from way back when, but most of it was during the time that I was sick. Oh,
The book.
The book.
thank you, Abby.
Yeah, don't.
But writing, putting your thoughts on paper, journaling from time to time, if you have the time and the skill, finding things to do, I swear is life changing, life altering. Finding purpose in your life is
Yep.
has been awesome for me. I do navigation work for FSR, um, and I do other things outside of that. But my hidden talent that I didn't know I had, I already knew I could write. That was a given. That's in my family. But I recently discovered I know how to make earrings, bracelets. I'm learning new materials and I'm having a good time at it. And I go do vending. I started a business. But working for myself is finally something I can do for me and don't have to
Yep.
worry about anybody else.
Yeah,
You're in
So,
control.
you are.
yes.
The one thing that you said earlier that really resonated with me was you thought you had it at birth
Hmm.
because you were a sickly child. And I looked back
Hmm.
at, so when I got my heart and the pandemic and the prednisone, I had a lot of time and a lot of shit flying around in my head. And I started like researching and putting things together and talking to my parents or my dad, my sister when she was out, and just started like putting down all the childhood ailments that I'd had. And I had had ear tubes put in because my ears were blocked. I had my tonsils taken out. I had allergies. I had all this ear, nose, throat stuff going on when I was very young.
Hmm. Hmm.
That hearing problems. They weren't going to give me hearing aids. I was stuttering, um, crazy things. And then it all kind of cleared up eventually. And then other crazy things were happening as well, along the way. But yeah, all the way
I,
back to like
I,
5, 6 years old, I
I was
I
was
was
gonna
sick.
say the
born.
same thing because I'm
I was
29
born with
now.
pneumonia.
Oh,
Yeah,
Wow.
that seems suspicious,
Yeah.
right? When people are like, it happens when when you're in your 20s. And I'm like, well, no, because I got my tonsils out when I was 14, like, because I was so sick. So I think
Hmm.
that's true, that you can be born with it and just the flares get worse as you get older. But I think that's true because I'm 29 and I have 1.5 lungs. That doesn't happen in a year or 2 years. Like, I'm proof that this is an illness that can be since you were born or just a little kid.
Right. So I don't know. We moved into a brand new house when I was born. So like all the construction materials might have been a trigger, or you know
yep.
something in the environment, or my parents smoking in the house, maybe.
Oh,
You know,
yeah,
Yeah.
that'll
don't
do
know.
it.
But I
Hmm.
traced it back, and I'd always. I mean, even when I was in college, I played soccer too, Abby, and
Hey, I was midfield.
and when for Dow Chemical in Louisiana, they gave me like a little mini physical, and they're like, "You have some reduced lung function." I'm like, "Yeah, it was probably a little marijuana when I was growing up. I don't know." But he's like, "No, no, no, that's not it." So it was always there in the background,
Hmm.
Yeah.
and to have it in your interstitial tissue and your, you know,
Mhm. Yep.
that's where they found it. It was just everywhere.
Yes.
The fact they found it in your finger is like, that means it's everywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, it was in my tendon sheath, which
Yeah.
basically your interstitial tissue is
Yeah.
like two
Yeah.
sides between your skin and your organs and muscles. That space, that's where your immune system hangs out and
Mhm.
your lymph system and all that. And yeah, it was in there just floating around. And I had a ring finger injury when I was in high school working. And I think it just created a little jam, scar tissue in there. So instead of floating around the rest of the body like it was doing, it was getting stuck there.
Mm.
And it would
Also,
just
an
build up. And
injury, because the immune cells flood to the injury, which is what causes inflammation when you get, cut or whatever.
right.
So that that's crazy. I didn't know that it could get like that far into your tissues.
Mm.
And from my understanding and research, anywhere your immune system goes, which means
Which is
not
everywhere.
your hair and not your fingernails and toenails,
It doesn't
anywhere
need to get
else.
my hair. I have methotrexate for that. That's why I had to go cut my hair. Sorry, dark humor. Yeah, no, I had like cut my back. The hair is buzzed because I was pulling out just clumps of hair, and I was like, I'm over this.
Mhm.
So that's why I cut my hair off. Dark humor. Sorry.
Oh, good.
Own it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Take
a-
control of it. You want to
Absolutely.
fall out? I'll take you out now.
Yeah, but with all the negatives that we all do have, you got to find that one positive, you
Hmm.
know.
I think Sandy was getting ready to say something.
I'm sorry, Sandy, go ahead.
Miss Jackie, how you know?
One more time?
I was gonna ask. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I was gonna ask. Right quick. I was gonna ask a dietary question from you guys. A lot more experienced than I am in this
Okay.
world. Um, I'm not sure, but sugar. Talk to me about the things that I need to run because I try to stay away from them. But dietary with sarcoidosis, help. Can you guys share a little bit about
Okay.
some things that
Um,
can guide me a little bit?
I'll take that one. And anyone else can chime in. Number one thing to get rid of is alcohol. Alcohol is extremely inflammatory. It does you no favors. Sorry. Second is sugar. Does you no favors. Third, I would say processed food. If it comes in a wrapper, it's probably not too good for you. And then lastly, this is it is what it is, but stay away from industrial meats and industrial produce. So if you can get organic, you're better off eating less organic food than more stuff with pesticides and glyphosate and things like that because it's extremely inflammatory. It's terrible for you. So that I think was the biggest lever I had. Regina, you want to
Kevin, can
add
you talk
something?
about?
Yeah,
Sorry.
if you can, grow your own. I do.
Yes.
Oh my God,
I volunteered at a working farm. It was a teaching farm, and we grew vegetables, and we were donating it all to kids programs, kids with ADD and behavior problems and depression and all these things, and they were starting to see results by just feeding them real food. And I I was blessed that I could take home whatever I wanted out of the crops, and I did, and that was my food for 2 years before I moved down here, and it was a blessing. Ended up with my own garden up there and growing tomatoes and lettuce, and it took a lot of time, and I didn't always feel like getting out and weeding, and I wasn't going to spray pesticides on it. Um, my tweezers and my readers going picking the bugs off the plants, but it was good food.
I was gonna
I hope that
say,
helps, Sandy.
I
Go ahead,
forget
Abby.
what you called it, Kevin. That I forget what you called it, but can you tell Sandy about when you like take things out of your diet one by one that you told me to do, and it helped by figuring out what your particular triggers are?
Okay. So what Abby's talking about is an elimination diet where you get rid of dairy, you get rid of sugar, you get rid of, and you basically, and there's lots of information on the internet on recommendations on the base level, but you it calms your body down. And then you add dairy back in, and just dairy. Like you eat your core food, and then you add dairy, and you see how it affects you for 5 days. And if you're feeling agitated or inflamed or sick or nauseous or you know GI issues, then that's a problem for you. Don't eat it. And if it's okay, then try the next thing. Try adding red meat. Try adding fish or what There's I'm not an expert on diet, but I basically was making fruit and vegetable smoothies, and that was my food for about 3 months, and then started adding back simple whole foods and fell in love with roasted vegetables and learned to eat the appropriate amount of protein. Like your plate should be a tiny piece of protein and lots of vegetables. And that was foreign to me because I love the big steak.
Okay, so so typically it's nothing different than training for the marathons. It's green vegetables and portion controls. But I guess in addition to everything that you guys said, which is great, grow your own. I got out of time for that one, but um, dairy. I guess I'm not sure if it. Dairy is a high. Dairy definitely causes inflammation, correct or no?
It varies whether you have the genes to break down the lactose and the fats.
Yeah,
Some people can do it, some people can't.
the point of the elimination diet, what Kevin told me was find out what you respond to like the worst. You know what I mean? 'Cause like somebody said earlier, was everybody's different. Everybody reacts differently to different foods.
Okay, okay, makes sense.
And the other thing I would recommend exploring, Sandy, would be intermittent fasting.
I do. I'm on 16/8.
Okay. And for me, one of the ways through there to get to 16/8 or multiple day fasts was something called bulletproof coffee.
Mm-hmm.
So it's black coffee,
Right.
butter or ghee. If the protein gets you, then the ghee is better because it has a lot of the uh, proteins out of it. And then coconut oil or MCT oil.
Mm-hmm.
And the fats give you energy because you'll be in ketosis,
Right.
and it's like not fasting at all. It keeps you satiated and actually feeds your brain.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a big one for me. I started that before I had my elimination diet. I just love butter. I'm like, you can put butter in coffee? That's crazy. But it's really good.
It is.
Yeah.
Good point. But it's high
It makes it
cholesterol.
like creamy
Right.
and rich and silky. And it's got butter. It's better with butter.
Regina, your face is killing me.
Yeah. It's created laxative.
That's what I look like when I'm getting my little whisk and I'm blending in my butter and coconut oil into my coffee. It's coming.
I
It's
like
almost there.
butter and I like coffee, but I don't know about the two of them mixed.
Yeah. I've tried that one too, Jackie.
Regina,
Yeah. Yeah.
it doesn't hurt to try.
Yeah.
And next month when you come on, you'll be like, I've been drinking that every day. It's amazing.
Look, now you know I already got a massive headache, so
I don't know if it'll make that go away or make it worse. That could be it. But I only know me, and that works for me. And I don't get hungry, so I stay in some version of ketosis all the time now.
Is that what it means when
And
you
it's
don't?
really great. I mean, I lost 40 pounds on prednisone. I got a little bit of moon face, but I lost 40 pounds because I went on an elimination diet and started intermittent fasting, and the hunger that I was getting from prednisone, I knew was strictly from prednisone, so it wasn't my body telling me I needed to eat. Because I already been through ketosis in 2014, was doing an Atkins style diet and lost some weight there, and it creeped back on over the years, and so I went back to that, and then um, it makes a lot of sense because a lot of the food is irritating to our bodies, and sarcoidosis reacts to that irritation. So if you're not feeding yourself, you're not upsetting yourself, and it gives your body a chance to calm down and clear out the inflammation and do some maintenance on cells, kill off some zombie cells, and then um, you know, over time, my energy came back. My brain fog never quite got to where I was hoping it would be, like gone, but it was probably had to do with 3 concussions in 2020.
Mm.
Didn't help.
No, not at all. But Sandy, also, I want you to realize, Abby and I were kind of talking about this before, was we do have dark humor, Abby and I, it seems like. So usually when I walk into a doctor, he's like, "Oh, and how are you doing?" And I'm like, "Oh, you haven't killed me yet." So, or I'm still standing, or I'll say something like that. The anger is allowed. Allow yourself to go through that. You're making a new person, um, and you need to find out where your niche will be. I've had sarcoidosis now for over 20 years. Unfortunately, I also lost my job, so I'm now on disability. Um, I was a really, really good dancer, and due to prednisone and things like that, I no longer have that body of a dancer, which drives me absolutely bonkers. Um, but you know what? I'm finding where I belong in the dance field, and people are starting to find me, which is really cool. Um, thank you. I just choreographed an off Broadway show called All of Me with two disabled dancers that were in both in wheelchairs. So it's out there. We can do it, whether you're going to coach or I've also done made it into the newspaper in December because I had a father of the bride who was in a chair for the past 7 years, and he wanted to dance with his daughter. I made that possible. So again, I may not have the body, and people look at me like, "Oh yeah, you're a choreographer, a dancer," and I am. And I've just started judging again. I have not judged since 2020 because of I've never gotten it, and I never want to get it. So there are days that I'm very depressed. It doesn't make a difference. The couch is mine. Your body is in pain. You have to take that downtime. I definitely push myself. Regina, I'll tell you. I really do push myself. And lately I've been taking a step back and saying, hey, I can't vacuum today. Can one of you vacuum? Whoever is in my house, or I'll just leave it. And people, if they don't like it, if they don't come in my house, then they don't need to come back in. That's one thing Regina told me. She goes,
Yeah,
I would not look at your house. I could care less. I'm here for you. So
Mhm.
that made a big difference too. I got one more piece of good news if you guys don't mind. Global Genes, I was evidently nominated for the Rare Champion in Advocacy as an individual. So I don't know if I'll win, but you know what? It was just really sweet to be nominated. Right,
yeah.
Reggie?
Great recognition. Congratulations.
Thanks. It's
You
just,
deserve it.
thank you. Thank you. But Sandy, allow, thank you, Regina. I'd curtsy, but I can't. I'm sitting down. um, Sandy, honestly, Abby will tell you, Regina, if even Kevin, allow yourself the anger. If you ever need to reach out to one of us, we can give you our emails, we can give you the phone numbers. We're a support group for all of us, if that makes sense. Abby's part of us now.
It does. I just wanted to ask, how do you, well, two questions. When your environment doesn't accept your anger or doesn't even accept you being ill, number one, because I've never been sick before besides cancer, and how when your environment doesn't allow you to be angry, so you suppress, number one, and two, why am I angry? I guess I asked that rhetorically because when I look at the before life, Hmm. Yeah, great thought. So I thought it until a devastating, life-changing event sat me down to process, as though the gentleman said, looking over things and processing. Well, I have quality of life. I'm not a corporate America, and like the young lady said, she has her own business. I get to see my mom more. I'm not spending weekends and going back to work. So I do see some. When I said blessings, I guess I kind of look at what am I angry about because it kind of gave me some benefits. Yeah, I'm debilitated a little, but is life worse or better? So I got a two thing. I'm not. What am I angry for? I do feel it sometime,
Mhm.
but then I have to process why am I angry? Because I got some benefits out of this. But then like quality of life, for my family. But then when your environment that you're in don't even allow you, can't even accept you being sick. No one blamed I had cancer because they're not. And it says, you know, we're not used to you being sick. Um, Call us when you feel better, huh? So when people don't allow you to be, I'm so used to not being angry or being suppressed. I don't even know if it's worth being angry. Does that make sense, or am I just this crazy?
Nope, you're not crazy. And Regina wants to tell you something.
Copy that.
Okay, that's the first poem in my book because we are angry because this condition happened to us and we want to know why. We're mad at the whole entire world. We have to get over that hump because you know what? It is what it is. And I'm, where's my book? I just got to read this to you real quick. That's the very first thing that can, it's called the pains and pressures of life. And it's exactly what you're talking about. I can't stand the pains and pressures of life. I don't know what to do. It's like I'm tied up in a big round knot, poked by the people of the world, stomped on by society, tossed away like trash. This is all part of pains and pressures of life. You know what? You just gonna have to find it within yourself to just let it go. Don't even think about what other people are thinking about because it is what it is. You have to come to grips with it and start thinking positively. And that's what I had to learn because, and I'm going to tell you why. When I was first diagnosed with this condition, there was no support at all. The only support, this was 30 years ago, the only support there was my mother and my stepdad. He's passed away now. And then I had my brother. My brother passed away in 2015, and I had to figure out a way that I can go and move forward because I wanted to help other people who could not, who should have that support that I didn't have. And let me tell you what, it's a whole different meaning in life when you can do that. So you just going to have to let go. And if you're, and it sounds like you're a Christian woman, you just going to have to let go and let God, as most people say. Just let it go. Don't think about other people. Just let it go and continue to live your life and adjust. You're just going to have to adjust
I absolutely.
because this condition is going to always be here.
I agree. That's what I mentioned when I said, "Well, what's the point of being angry? There's so many benefits. Yes, it's a disability. Just
Yes,
going through the journey
you're
of
going to
cancer.
all.
Yeah, you're
Yes,
gonna always
you will always have that little bit of anger hanging in that background because there's always going to be something popping up. Trust me, I know.
Hmm.
I got
Yep.
something going on right now, and I'm not very happy about it. But you know what? I still have that mindset that, you know what? Oh my gosh, why is this happening to me? But I still must go on because I need to help the next person because you know
Right.
what? That next person may be having the same thing going on with them. And I need to channel my energies to let them know, hey, you can get through it. I'm going through this right now. Let me share this with you.
Right. And
So
that
you
Right.
gotta have that, try to have that positive mindset.
and that's what we
I
all
know
do.
it's going to be hard. Yes.
Yeah, we all want, I mean, when I'm going down, I know I can reach out to Kevin or I could reach out to Regina. The anger is that former person who you were is no
Mhm.
longer there. And each step of
Mhm.
the way with sarcoidosis, you're going to reinvent yourself. You're going to be somebody
Mhm.
different. Family don't, they always see us as very strong individuals because we're fighting a disease that we will never really fully win until the doctors
Mhm.
win. So, it's taken me a long time to say to my family, and it's only just been recently, probably since I got back from the Cleveland Clinic, I can't do this. I cannot
Mhm.
do this today. And that's usually what I say is I'm not able to accomplish this today. I never use the can't word, unfortunately, but at this time, I'm not able to do it. And that's what you're going to have to come to grips with as well. Right now, it seems like the early stages, which maybe you'll stay there. We all pray
Yep.
for the same thing, or we pray for remission. But we're here for each other. And that's
Yep.
the biggest thing that matters in this world, at least to me.
Yep. I broke down the other day. I called my mom. I said, "Mom, I'm tired." I just bawled over the phone, and all she could do was just listen to me. And but there's nothing she can do, but just listen
Right.
and hope for the best.
Yeah. And
Because
my friend,
you know,
yeah, my friends
Good prayer.
keep telling me, there's one set of footprints in the sand. We all know that saying. And usually I
Mhm.
look upward and I'm like, I'm tired of dragging my legs behind me. Help me. Because sometimes that's exactly what you feel like. You feel like you're just being dragged through the sand.
And that's what this book is about.
Mm-hmm.
It's like my journey written in two different parts. The first part is dealing with the illness, and then the second part is living with the illness. And it's done in poetry form. And after each poetry verse, there's room to write. So it's an interactive book. And that's why I wrote it, because of that. And it's out there for anybody who wants to buy it. Um, it's a self-help book.
Yeah. And it does help. At least I find so.
I concur 100%.
Well, we
Cindy, the only thing that I would add to that is in my journey when it became a serious illness that needed medication and medical intervention, and I was not dealing with it well. I had um, a lot of psychotic issues with the prednisone. Like I lost a lot of weight and I lost my mind. And I was talking to a counselor every week for several years and thank God for Mike because he saved my life and he got me through it. And it was more than just the illness. It was dealing with my dad and the whole end of life thing and dealing with. And the one part that really struck out to me was, I was trying to identify why I was so angry, like why I was yelling at people and what we arrived at was this was a term he used ambiguous loss. So you didn't lose anything, literally. Like your limbs still work, your head's still attached, your toes are still there. You didn't lose something. But you lost your future that you were planning on, like you're getting ready to retire and you're planning on doing all these things, and now you don't have the energy to mop the floor or vacuum. And that's a loss. And that's kind of where it all stemmed from. And then we kind of over time flipped it around to being grateful for what I can do
Hmm.
and watching my thoughts because fate or sugar or alcohol are inflammatory or toxic. So thoughts can be too.
Mhm.
And if you find yourself with a lot of negative self talk, like I did, you have to catch it, let it go, and start on your gratitude practice or your affirmations or something to change the conversation in your head. It's a journey. It doesn't happen overnight.
No.
Oh, that is so true.
Yep. And it changes numerous times. All of a sudden, it makes a
Yes.
hard right turn.
Yeah, like right now, my journey is changing because I have to deal with my issues with my mother and deal with my own health and deal with my daughter's health because she has rare seizures, you know. And now I have to think, oh, now I got to stay as healthy as I possibly can,
Mm-hmm.
knowing I have my own health issues. You know, when you think about that, that's hard to do.
It is.
All right.
Oh,
Anything else to add? Whole and complete on this side.
Yeah, all complete here.
Sandy,
Sandy,
thank you for joining us. We hope you can make it next month. Abby, great as always to see you.
yeah,
Keep up
Miss
the good work.
Ghost. Abby, you been a ghost.
aw,
Oh, look at the cat. Of
what's
course,
the
you had to
He's
get a
my
black cat to
he's
match
my
your
lab
black
cat.
humor.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
He's black like my soul.
name? Goof. All right, I gotta
Boy or
jump off.
girl?
Well, I hope everybody
Boy,
take care, and I hope to
George.
see everybody next month. Abby, give me a
Uh,
call.
I will.
All
All
Bye.
right.
right.
Bye, everyone. Have a great month.
All right, bye,
Bye.
Sandy.
Bye.
Bye, Abby.
See you in July.
Bye.
Bye.